Hello YouTube, I'm John from TheCardfightCapital, and today I'm going to be giving you a deck profile on Prisms, and this is the archetype for Bermuda Triangle. So I'm going to get started off with zeros, and I'm going to count up to threes. So for the starter, I run Prism Smile Coro, and her effect, she has Forerunner, and then her effect is when one of your Bermuda Triangles is returned to your hand, she also returns two, which is very important for setting up your Labrador plays, because it gives you a free card. Alright, then for the triggers, I run 6 crit, 6 draw, and 4 heal. It does kind of matter what your triggers are for that, so I run the Prism triggers when possible, so 4 of those, and then just 2 of this to make 6. And then for the draws, 4 of her, and then 2 of her. There are other draw triggers that you can use, but I would use this draw trigger specifically because it puts it into the soul and gives plus 3k, but the important part is it had cards in soul for soul blasting. So you do a little bit of soul blasting in the deck, and you don't do a lot of soul charging, so it just gives you fuel for that. And then 4 heals. I would use the prisms when possible because there are some special counterblasts. Alright, and so then we're going to move on to grade 1s. For the grade 1s, I run 4 Prism Romance Mercure, and she is the Masquerade, grade 1 Masquerade. If she attacks and you have a Prism Vanguard, she gets plus 3k. It's a pretty good early game. And then next, for Prism Image Clear, and her effect is when she's returned to the hand from the field, you Soul Blast 1, and one of your Bermuda Triangles gets plus 4k. This just gives a little bit of extra power when you try to make your Labrador pushes. Alright, and then I should mention that this is pre-extra booster, so I do not have the Prism Perfect Guards yet, so I run 4 Mermaid Idol Ellys, and I need one more of her so I can make it a nice, pretty, full set. And then because there's just all of the prisms that I can run that were good, I just threw in 2 Sedna to round out the grade 1s at 14 grade 1s. Alright, and then so moving on to the grade 2s, just run 4 Prism Smile Ligurian, I think is how you pronounce her name. I can never do it. She's just your standard 10k Prism vanilla. And then 4 Prism Romance Lumiere. It's your grade 2 Masquerade. When she attacks and you have a Prism Vanguard, she gets plus 3k. It's really, really good to make up some pretty nasty columns next to your Vanguard. And then after that, 3 Prism Promise Celtics, or Celtics. She has the same effect of Prism Image Clear. When she's returned to the hand, when you Soul Blast 1, and then one of your cards gets plus 4k. And then on to the grade 3s. Run 4 Prism Image Vert, and this is your break ride for the deck. And her break ride is break 4, obviously. When she's ridden on, turn 2 of your rear guards to your hand, and this is also where Coro would come into play, because you can target 2 of your rear guards other than her, and she'll return herself with her effect. And we'll see why that's important once we get to Labrador. And then after you return those 2 cards, you then draw a card, and then your Vanguard gets plus 10,000. Excuse me. And then her other effect is Lord, obviously. And during your turn, if you have 4 of the rear guards and she's the Vanguard, she gets plus 3k when she, or plus 2k, excuse me, when she attacks. So not too terrible for a break ride. And then for the boss monster of the deck, have 4 Prism Image Labrador, or Prism Promise Labrador, excuse me. And her effect is, when this card attacks a Vanguard, you may choose up to 3 cards with Prism in its card name from your hand and call them to separate open rear guards. And if you call 3, this unit, being Prism Promise Labrador, gets plus 10,000 and a crit. So after you break, so what you can do is you can break ride her, return 3 cards to your hand, being 2 and then your Coro, and then swing with her, boosted by something, and then you can call 3 more cards for filling up your 2 columns, and she will swing for 39, depending on your booster, 39 2 crit, and it's a pretty hefty column. It's a pretty hefty attack to be doing every turn. You can do that every turn and she'll be around 34 2 crit, depending on your booster. Her second effect is an act, counterblast a card with Prism in its name, and you choose a card named Prism with Prism in its name and return it to your hand. So it kind of sets up, she kind of sets her own effect up. But that's the deck. It runs fairly consistently. Hopefully it'll be more consistent once once it has more Prism support, because then I can eliminate her, get the Prism Perfect Guard, and then I can eliminate her, and then it'll be 100% Prisms, which will help with the special counterblasting of the deck. But that's all I got for you guys today, so see you next time.